What's up, everybody? Do you see this man's picture? Do you see this? I'm here to bring the tea. Again, some more truth, some hard truth. And this time it's about the American black man. You see that, Alan, the so-called Hebrew descendant, you believe, we're Hebrew Israelites. Well, this is about the American black man this time. Now, I'm going to go back to Tipu Tip. I got a part 2 coming up about Tipu Tip. I now found out some more horrifying information thanks to a subscriber. So I will have my part 2 coming. But when I ran across this story, this information, I had to share it with y'all. Okay, about this man right here. Okay, this man, you see this man? His name is Carter G. Woodson, also referred to as the father of Black history. Okay. And he exposed some hidden history regarding black men during the slave days, y'all. Yes, during the slave days. He published a book called Free Negro Owners of Slavers in the U.S. in 1830. He published the book in 1924. You can go on eBay. They are selling the book on eBay for $20-something. You can purchase it. Okay. And, before I tell you what's in the book, what he exposed. Okay. I'm reading up stuff online, and something I read said that there were approximately 319,599 free blacks in the United States in 1830. Approximately 13.7% of the total population was free. A significant number of these free blacks were slave owners. The census of 1830 lists 3,775 free Negroes who owned a total of 12,760 slaves. That's still a lot. It's still a lot. Now, also, I read something that said one of the less well-known aspects of the history of slavery is how many and how often non-white people owned and traded slaves in early America. Free black slave holders could be found at one time of another in each of the 13 original states and later in every state that had slavery. Okay, this man observed that black people bought and sold other black people. And this raises many vexing questions for 21st century Americans. Okay, so let's go back to Carter G. Woodson. What did he say in his book, The Free Negro Owners of Slaves in the U.S. in 1830? Okay. Well, this is what he had to say. He did some research. It says, okay, I'm gonna skip over a few things, but it says, okay, the statistical report on the free Negro ownership of slaves was made possible in 1921 when the director of the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History obtained from the Laura Spelman Rockefeller Memorial an appropriation for the support of research into certain neglected aspects of Negro history. The shit they skipped over during slavery that they don't want you to know. They're doing some research on it. Okay. They found compelling statistics for the much larger report on the free Negro heads of families in the United States in 1830. The investigators found so many cases of Negroes owning slaves that they decided to take a special notice of this phase of the history of the free Negro. Now, let's be real. They're talking about black men. Let's be real here. Okay. It says, the aim of this report on the free Negro is to facilitate the further study of this neglected group. Most of these people have been forgotten about, regarding this history. So, it says that about 500,000, almost 1/7 of the Negroes in this country were free prior to the emancipation in 1865. Okay, it is hardly believed that a considerable number of Negroes were owners of slaves themselves, and in some cases control large plantations. Then it says, okay, in his book it says, that much I already knew. Among the free Negroes who ran plantations and owned slaves were Cecil Richards and Anton de Buccleuch of Louisiana, and this was during the middle of the 19th century. He then goes on to say, slaves of Negroes were in some cases children of a free father who purchased his wife. Free black men who purchased slave black women to be their wife. If he did not emancipate the mother, as so many of the husbands failed to do, many of the black men failed to free their wives, give her freedom. His own children would then be born as slaves and then reported by the enumerators. Okay, so it's saying these black men are purchasing black women slaves to be their wives, but they're failing to free the wives. So he says, which is what, as I would expect. Blacks like to claim that when blacks owned slaves, they did it for humanitarian reasons, for good reasons. You know, a lot of black men like to say, well, you know, slavery in Africa wasn't as bad as in America. Do you know what Tipu Tip was over there doing? Okay, so it says they claim they did it for humanitarian reasons, for good reasons, which justified, you know, the technical slave status of whomever had been purchased. But the truth is that blacks use slavery to apply pressure or punishment on others. For example, now here it is, y'all. Some of these husbands were not anxious to liberate their wives immediately. They considered it advisable to put them on probation for a few years, and if they did not find them satisfactory, they will sell their wives as other slaveholders disposed of Negroes. Let that sink in what I just said. They purchased black women as slaves to be their wife, and if they did not like her ass, they put her on probation. They tested her ass out. And remember now, the black woman had to serve the white man and the black man. The black woman, like Malcolm X said, the most disregarded and disrespected woman on the planet is a black woman. There's a reason he said this. Black women, this is why I support y'all becoming housewives and not having to work. You've been working since fucking slavery. Every other race of woman has got the chance to relax but you. Okay? So this is why I push. Get a man that can take care of your fucking ass. But yes, back to this. So basically, they put the wives on probation. Let me test her ass out some. Is she doing what I say? Or whatever their reasons. They put her on probation. And if they did not find her satisfactory, they would sell her ass off just like the other white slaveholders did of other Negroes. So she would go back to being on the fucking plantation for a white man that might be whooping her ass, or they didn't always get beat, but her ass was put back in harm's way. She was put back to being a slave. For example, a Negro shoemaker in Charleston, South Carolina, purchased his wife for $700, but on finding her hard to please, he sold her a few months thereafter for $750, gaining $50 by the transaction. He didn't like her. He purchased her and said, go back to being a slave. And he got rid of her. He sold her for $750. And the next thing it says, there is another part in the book involving a plot between a free black man's slave wife and a male black slave to steal her husband's manumission papers. These are the papers a owner has to free a slave. Okay, So it says to steal her husband's those papers and run away. Thereafter to pretend that the papers belonged to the black slave who had owned the woman but had set her free. When the true owner of these papers, the woman's husband, complained to law enforcement, he himself was arrested and had to spend $500 on lawyers to prove his innocence. To recoup the money, he sold her ass off for that amount. So this is being something that is swept under the rug. You do not hear about this at all. I have looked online and I can't find hardly anything on it, except it is in the book by this man, Free Negro Owners of Slaves in the U.S. in 1830. So if you're interested in reading it, you can purchase this book off of eBay. They also sell it on Amazon. So this is a black man, an American black man, exposing what free black men were doing to black women. You know, like I said before, slavery was a business. You know, everybody wants to paint a certain picture of slavery, but they don't want to go deep into it. They don't want to talk about slavery pre-America, when you end up in America with slavery, and now something with the men, and maybe a black woman might have had a slave. But from what I'm reading on this, the men were purchasing black women off plantations, and if he didn't like her ass, he put her ass back on a plantation. Even though that's his wife and you take vows to love your wife and to honor your wife. But no, if he didn't like her ass, he put her ass right back on the fucking plantation, where she could be used and had to work her ass off and maybe be given to, you know, some black men like to call us bed wenches and shit. Well, they were called bucks, a strong old buck. And she probably had to go fuck a buck and make some more slave babies after being disposed of like she ain't shit by her husband. So this is some pretty shocking information, some history right here. And I'm happy that I found out about it. There is a slave owner one of my subscribers told me about, and I'm researching on them, and it's very surprising. Another black man owning slaves in America. And a lot of black people don't want to go there when we talk about this type of stuff, you know. So that's all for this video for now. What do y'all think about this? Are you shocked by it? Did you know about it? And wow, I really wonder what happened to those black women who they married, who ended up back on a plantation because he didn't like her after he purchased her. And why is it that so much of this trifling shit is not taught to black people? Why is it being swept under the fucking rug? Interesting. Leave your comments below. My sources, again, will be in the description box. And I will have more coming. Like I said, I got more to say about Tip Who Tip. So look out for that video. And pass this video on. Share the information. You know, some black men, we know who they are. They're going to say, I'm degrading the black man. I'm not degrading the black man. I'm exposing y'all. This is actually an educational video. Y'all need to know about this. Black men and black women. You know, it changes the narrative of the yes, you know, we had evilness going on in the country. But no one wants to think that, hey, some black men did some fucked up shit. Black people have been dysfunctional since fucking slavery. You know, they only bring up, we were so together in the 1950s and 60s. No, that's because you was forced to do it. Once black men got their freedom, you saw how the loyalty has shifted. I mean, seriously. You know, any damn way. I might purchase that book because I might want to read up on more about this. But, yes. Carter G. Woodson. Exposing it all. Leave your comments below.